What's up, RPG fans? Welcome to episode 31 of the SwitchRPG podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Philip, and I'm joined, as always, by the voice of the people.
The voice of the people, that's right.
How are you doing?
I am feeling really feisty today. I have no idea why, but I am in one of the moods where I am feeling awesome right now. I don't know.
It's all that rest and relaxation and turkey you got from last week with Thanksgiving.
I didn't rest. There was no resting. Not with the children's. It was just impossible.
You didn't go out and do Black Friday, did you?
Hell no. No way. Actually, I am lying to you. I did. It wasn't like 6 a.m. Black Friday. It was more noonish. Because, you know, I went somewhere with my daughter, and then while we were out, I'm like, I wasn't even thinking. I don't know. I wasn't thinking, okay? So I'm out, right? It's Friday. I have the day off. I'm not thinking anything other than that. All right, I still have to cover some things in the backyard, so I'm going to go get a tarp. I have to get some just minor things to fix in the house, so I'm going to get that stuff. And wow, I was stupid. I was so dumb. I went to Home Depot. The lines were freaking... I'm like, what did I get myself into? I'm in there with my baby girl. She's 3, right? So she has to pee. So we're like, oh, we're going to the bathroom. And then we're going back into the line. And then she has to go do something else. You know what I'm talking about. And then we go back in the line. And it was just a freaking zoo at Home Depot. But that wasn't my first stop, because you know why? Because I'm a moron. I went to another store. So because the tarps are way too expensive at Home Depot, so I went to another store where I know they're less expensive. I go there, get a tarp, wait in line for 45 minutes with a 3-year-old, get every single piece of whatever she wants because I'm a sucker of a dad, and then I realize I forgot something to buy.
No.
So I go to the next store, okay? So I go to the Tractor Supply Warehouse. I'm like, oh, I just got to go in there for one thing. I step into the entrance. The line is literally from the register to the back of the store. I've never seen that many people in this store ever. The store's been there for forever, and it's never been that full. And, you know, I try to make my way through, because the way they have the registers set up is like, as soon as you open the door, the registers are right there. So I just try and make my way to the back where I know the items are. And I just turn around, and I'm not even kidding when I say the lines are from the front to the back. I just turn around and I'm like, you know what, Amelia? This is just not worth it. And, you know, I walked out, and that was my Black
Hopefully
Friday.
with the child, though.
Oh boy, I'll be right back. No, yeah.
Hey, but good for that store making like the business for the next 2 years.
Of course, you know, I'm happy for them, but I didn't get to do anything I wanted to do. I didn't get to cover up the
You just
winterize
forgot
stuff.
it was Black Friday.
I just totally spaced it out because I don't do this Black Friday stuff. Unbelievable.
Wow.
What a disaster.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you had a better experience, or maybe a worse experience if you're into that thing, than Gio did. If this is your first time listening, we are the official podcast from the website SwitchRPG.com that brings you exciting news, upcoming game releases, and all the latest in the world of RPGs on the Nintendo Switch platform, as well as the other platforms. This week, we've got a good show for you. We are starting off with a couple of game announcements. We'll dive into the sales and releases, and then we've got a list of anticipated games coming in 2019, and then a little bit of a really far-fetched side quest. Anyway, let's jump right into the news, and we're starting off this week with talks of Joy-Con. And it's not exactly Nintendo Joy-Con, all right? We're talking about a third-party Switch Joy-Con that is coming out fairly soon. It's coming out next month, that's right. This is coming to you from Nyko or Nico, Nyko.
Nyko. Yep.
Nyko, and they are called the Nyko... Oh, my eyes failed me. Dualies?
Yeah.
And so these are Joy-Cons, what they are pumping up, what they're promoting is the fact that they are a little bit bigger. And for those of us out there that have a little bit bigger hands and found Geo, for the audio people, Geo is holding up his hands now. But those who found the original Joy-Cons to be really small, they are, and if you found that, maybe you're cramping up after about half an hour, or you can't get a good grip, these are promising, if you will. They are a bit bigger. They're shaped differently. They actually have a grippable shape. So, that's hope for us out there. Now, I know in the past, as with a lot of third-party hardware things, there have been some maybe issues or compatibility issues up to this point with some Joy-Cons. So hopefully we don't really see that with these. This is what, year 2? So hopefully these third-party companies are finding ways to make them more compatible, make them more reliable. These are, I'm going to read a little bit from the article here. This is coming from NintendoLife.com. They feature, quote, multifunctional motion control and rumble feedback, and they aim to act as near complete Joy-Con replacement. Nyko says the controllers are compatible with most Switch titles, and that the larger, more rounded edges allow for an improved grip, especially while playing sideways, giving a more comfortable and improved ergonomics. Okay. Geo, after looking at the images, what do you think of them?
I generally am not into third-party devices, mostly because they generally they feel cheap. But Nyko, I mean, they're a little more reputable. So, and Power A, which is another third-party provider for Nintendo, I think they're actually licensed for Nintendo. Their products feel cheap, but this is the first Joy-Con, I guess you could call, that has a lot more functionality. Now, it doesn't look like they actually connect to the Switch, which, again, are these kind of just two separate controllers? Is that what they're more going for? I'm not entirely sure. Now, for me, what I did with my Joy-Cons, I don't know if you did this, they have these inserts, not inserts. You insert these things into it like a grip. And I find that those work pretty good. And, it requires zero modification. I don't have to go buy a whole nother set of Joy-Cons, or, like another third-party set of Joy-Cons. They were like $10, and they work really well. They fit my giant Sasquatch hands. And I don't know. I just prefer to do something like that than to go for whatever these guys are carrying. My biggest complaint with the Joy-Cons is that I think I'm just trying to look at it, depending on which side you get, there's one where they're really close together, and my thumbs always kind of hit each other. I don't know if because I'm like an animal when I play on that one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I feel like these things did some things right and then did some things really odd. Yeah. And so I think it's going to be sort of a little bit of a mixed bag here. On the point of more comfortable playing sideways, you are going to get that effect because it looks, if you're looking at these Nyko ones, it looks like they built them with that in mind, because to what you were saying dock, on right? the actual Joy-Cons, you got that weird one that's like really close together, and these are like evenly spaced out, so you're getting the same experience no matter which remote you're holding.
Right.
Nintendo Life has a note in here where it says that, interestingly, this is the first set of third-party Joy-Cons to be able to work not connected to the Switch. So that's interesting, but I feel like you really miss an opportunity by making these, like you were saying, where they don't connect to the Switch at all.
Right.
And want to be, slide into the Switch. So I feel like that's really strange, that you're making such a niche product that you basically can only play this when your Switch is docked. You can only play with these while you're playing on the TV.
Yeah, unless you kickstand it and having like a little, I don't know, I mean, like a little party on a table or something. It doesn't make sense.
And honestly, I don't. If I play docked, which now I have a Pro Controller, so it's a moot point. But before I had a Pro Controller, I never played like freehanding.
No.
Whenever I was docked, I never played that way. I always slid it into the to the stock little Joy-Con controller that came with the Switch. So this doesn't really work for me in that respect. And honestly, I feel like the Joy-Cons are almost just as bad from an ergonomics perspective when they're actually slid into the thing. When I'm playing handheld, I have a lot of problems with them, with being able to get a grip and everything. And so I don't feel like this really accomplishes as much as it could have had they been able to actually slide onto the hardware.
Right.
Yeah. So that's very strange to me.
Yeah, it's essentially just another set of small, tiny controllers. That's really all it is.
Essentially, yeah.
So,
I was hopeful for these, but man, I just don't. I don't think that's quite for me. But I can tell you what is for me, and that's a little game coming to us next year from Bandai Namco called Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition.
Yes.
I know we're both excited about this one. RP Gamer put up an article the other day that has some new screenshots. Looks to be just over like 24. I can't tell if that's 15 or 16. My eyes are really killing me tonight. But
wow.
I need to get glasses, dude.
You don't have glasses? They're that bad. You don't have glasses. You got to get that taken care
of. So yeah, these screens, high quality.
Right.
They show a good bit of a variety of things, mostly battle things, and I think even the ones that don't have enemies in them, it looks like those are possibly like attacks or something, like special attacks or something. So this is getting me even more excited than I already was, because I like the look of this game. For reference, for everyone who might not have heard my history with Tales, I've played the first two Tales games, that being Fantasia, Destiny, and then I've played a little bit of Symphonia, and that's it. So I haven't really played a modern Tales game, and so looking at these screens, I love the art.
Right.
It looks timeless. I know we were talking about, what game was that we were talking about last week that didn't really age? Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
This is that art style that I like, because I really feel like it's a little bit more timeless. You get a little bit of cell shading, and it really sort of leans into the cartoony. And man, I'm excited.
I am as well. There was actually a short video. I don't remember what it was called or what it was showing off, but there was also a short video. It might have been a battle scene or something. And the art style, like you said, is timeless. It's perfect. I've been liking a lot of the anime style games recently, so this is coming at a perfect time for me. I forget when they said they were thinking about releasing this. Is this a January-ish?
This is January 11th.
Okay,
is when it goes worldwide on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
And I really hope that this is coming out at the same time, and we're not having to deal with the whole Dark Souls type of thing.
There's still time to delay.
I know,
There's still time to delay, but
Dark Souls,
hopefully.
Their whole reason, I think, was the Nintendo Online, the incorporation of the Nintendo Online. As far as I know, there's no online aspect to this, so we really shouldn't be seeing any issues. But, who knows? But yeah, this is definitely on my get game list for sure.
What I'm liking from these images is that it is giving me even because, like I said, this is mainly battle stuff, and it's showing me things that I am familiar with because I did play some of the older games, and I like that. That's promising to me, but it's showing them to me in sort of this fresh set of paint.
Yeah.
And I am shocked that this game is 10 years old, even though I understand it's a remaster. But remember, guys, we were talking last week about Kingdom Hearts 3, which is a current gen game. Honestly, looks in some ways worse than this, in my opinion. I think I like the look of this better.
Yeah.
And I know that it's different. It's competing art styles. You can't really compare them. But in a way, this has aged really well for being a 10-year-old remaster.
I agree.
Versus a current gen game. So
I totally agree. And just to go back on your other points, you've played a lot more Tales of games than I have. I have played none. No Tales
well,
of games,
I mean, to be fair, I know all the diehard Tales fans. I honestly haven't played. You can't really even count what I've done.
I know,
playing,
right? But I mean, you played Tales of
I've played
Symphonia
more than you,
a little bit, and that's like 1 million times more than what I've done. But I am so excited for this, so it's all good. It's all good. We love it.
All right, let's talk game announcement. This is also from RPG Site. Obsidian Entertainment. Sorry, Obsidian Entertainment has might be announcing a new RPG at the Game Awards. They've begun teasing this. Game Awards, of course, are going live December 6th. So remember that Obsidian, we've talked about Obsidian a fairly good bit in recent weeks. Because they were acquired. Yes, Obsidian's the one that was acquired by Xbox, Microsoft for Xbox. So it looks like all this teasing is leading up to some sort of third-person action RPG, which, of course, because we're talking about on the SwitchRPG podcast, that means that Gio is going to contest the fact that it's actually an RPG because it's third-person action. But there are all these teasing images come in the way of like fake ads. I mean, I guess they are ads, but I mean they're meant to sort of like be ads, and like there's like a skin cream one. It's almost like Old Spice.
You're right.
Yeah, I mean it's got that like Old Spice sort of look to it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Obsidian are they developed Fallout New Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So this definitely gives me some sort of Fallout wastelandy type of vibe here. Kind of like that 50s retro style. Obviously, they're not totally ripping off of Fallout, but it kind of gives me that.
Now, to make matters even more interesting, in this article from RPG Site, they say that last year it was revealed that this RPG is also being led by Tim Kaine and Leonard Boyarsky, who are the co-creators of the original Fallout.
Okay.
So there's a little bit more icing on the cake.
There you go. So, yeah, with the original Fallouts, those were kind of had the same retro aspect that Bethesda kind of just carried over, obviously. So, I think this is where we're leaning towards. We're leaning towards a kind of a post-apocalyptic thing. That's my guess. And they're going to be announcing it at the Game Awards, which is coming up really fast. Someone just said it's coming up next week. I'm like, no, it's not. It's coming up. Wow.
Next Thursday,
week.
right?
Yeah, that's
next
insane.
Thursday, yeah.
And there's supposed to be a ton of announcements. Hopefully Walmart Canada doesn't ruin it again for everyone. But I guess we'll have to see.
For the audio people out there, go to search for RPG Site and Obsidian announcement, new RPG. I will read a couple. And like Gio was saying, it does give that sort of retro, possibly futuristic vibe to it, a la Fallout. It says, stay tuned for a special message from Spacer's Choice. That feels very Fallout. Stay tuned for a special message from Auntie Cleo's. Okay, almost like it's a restaurant. Order yours today. There's like a futuristic revolver. It's not the best choice. It's Spacer's choice. And then Better Than Nature, Auntie Cleo's. And that is the one with all like the skincare cream and stuff like that. So very, even down to sort of like the humor is kind of Fallout-esque. So
Yeah.
I am all for that.
Yeah, as long as it's not like Fallout 76, I think we're all for that.
Now, this has been in development. It seems like this has been in development for a year.
Just a year, huh?
Well, it was I guess it was revealed last year who was heading the project, so it could have been in the works.
All right.
But my question is, does this now get tied down to Xbox exclusivity with Obsidian being in-house? If a project was pre-existing, does that still get still get in, or is that sort of grandfathered into the open platform?
That's a fantastic question, because I know that there are other titles that are Fallout. I think it's Obsidian that's done them. For example, Pillars of Eternity 2. I know that was going for everything, and that was way in development. In fact, I think it's almost going to get released for the Switch. Is kind of what I'm waiting for. So I would have to think that they have to kind of fulfill that promise or whatever it is they kind of signed up for to have that released for the Switch. I just don't know.
But if they didn't necessarily say that this was coming to a bunch of platforms, I guess they could get away with it.
Right.
To what you're saying about Pillars of Eternity, they did promise those things before the deal was done, if you will. So I don't know. I don't know. This could just be an Xbox thing, and we're all hung out to dry.
Not all of us.
But with the good relationship, they could do this deal where it also comes to Switch.
Only to Switch and
Xbox.
Only
to Switch. I mean, it wouldn't come to PS4
because they don't play nice in the sandbox.
They don't play nice in the sandbox, but you know what does play nice? Apparently, in a weird way. I'm going to read this, and we're going to get excited, and then I'm going to dash our dreams. Coming from Siliconera. Speaking of cross-platform play, Dragon Quest Builders 2 has cross-platform support for Switch and PS4. So guess what, Gio? That means that our friends on the PS4 and our friends on the Switch can all play together and be happy because Dragon Quest Builders 2 has multiplayer and we can all play together just like we do on Switch and Xbox. But that's not the case. All right? That's not the case. Because
you built me up and then you just...
I told you. Dashing dreams, okay? Because we talked about, what was it, last week? Was it 2 weeks ago when we had couch co-op? That wasn't really couch co-op. Well, here is your cross-platform support.
Quote,
that isn't really cross-platform support, okay? Because this is what is actually the case. It is coming to Switch. It is coming to PS4. Both of those things are true. We are getting it in the West at some point, okay? And this article does more than just talk about this cross-platform. I don't want to undercut the article. The article is great. It gives a really good rundown of some information about Dragon Quest Builders 2 that we either didn't know before or we were hoping to be confirmed. I am going to do the rundown, but first off, let's cover the cross-platform support. What that actually is, no, you can't play together, but there is a bulletin board system that uploads to the same bulletin board. Wow. So you'll be able to see entries regardless of whether you're playing on PS4 or Switch.
That's amazing.
There's your cross-platform support. So everybody get off of Sony's back, okay? Talking about how they don't play nice with other people, talking about how they're nothing but selfish, rich goons. Well, they just showed you.
They did.
They're all for the player.
So you get to actually post like a text message type of deal, and then on the Switch, and then the PlayStation peoples can see that. Yeah.
And you can also use islands, because we'll talk about that in a second. Island is sort of like your personal hub world. You can use islands made from both hardwares. So like you can make an island, and someone on the PS4 could download that and play that island.
But you can.
But can they play with you?
No, it doesn't sound like it. So
no.
I mean, that's kind of not even. That's not cross-platform. That's a joke.
Just like what was, couch co-op.
Yeah, that
please
couch co-op.
Don't call
situation.
that couch co-op.
No, that's a joke as well.
Okay. So, couple of things here, and this was this rundown was from a Famitsu interview. Okay, so it's got some Japanese to English translation things here,
Sure.
but anyway, couple things about DQ Builders 2. All right, so I believe this is the developer. It says, when we couldn't decide on how to make Dragon Quest Builders 2, it was Yuji Horii who told me players that liked the first game will purchase 2, so you can't change its foundation. If it comes out as something else, they'll be let down, and that cleared up my troubles. From that day onward, we were powered up. We went with a powered up version of the first game. So, and he says up until that point, it was the development was actually really rough. So, we are essentially getting everything that people loved about the first one and just things built on top of it, which I think is smart because I don't think you necessarily hit everything out of the park with the first one enough for you to be like, we just need to go a completely different direction. I think you need to just nail whatever you were going to do before you sort of like change things up.
Sure. That sounds like the right move, but yeah.
Let's see. There's an exceptionally talented AI programmer, and he's been a huge boost, making the character reactions and movements. The RPG parts that made the previous game fun won't be going away. They will be enhanced. So that's good news, especially for Geo.
I was going to say, I felt like it was a little light in the RPG aspect. I mean, I don't want to come off as an RPG snob.
Did it not? It didn't quite hit the bar.
I didn't want to get into it, but it did not. It did not. But that's okay.
Okay, so it seems as if that, like I said, the premise is that you have your island that you're building up over time through the story, through the sandbox of the game. So he says for the island, there are residents that are set to move there after you meet them in the story. Once you clear the game, you'll be free to add any character you want. If there are characters you don't care for, you can send them back to their home islands, or you can have randomly created residents. Or if you want to go to an extreme, then you can even make it into an island full of bunny boys.
Sure. I mean, those bunny boys are... Is that a band? I have no idea.
Yeah.
The Bunny Boy Band?
Sea Monkeys too. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of cool. I like that in games where you have sort of a home hub. I even liked this about Fallout 4. I like the idea of a home hub and slowly building it up over the course of a game, and like choices that you make through the story sort of are reflected in that home, so that like I saved this character in the story. Now he's got a little shop in my home, or he's just walking around doing his own little thing. I'm like, that guy's alive because of me. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, that is cool. And there's kind of a little bit of that in Breath of the Wild. I understand it's not an RPG, but there's an island where you can go and you collect certain items or whatever, and then they develop this like little town where they sell special stuff that you can buy. So it's a little bit of that as well. So it's kind of like a base building, I guess, with RPG aspects, which is cool.
There you go. And Dragon Quest Builders 2 releasing in Japan later this year, December 20th, and then coming to the West next year.
Why the delay? I don't. Is it translation? Is that what it is? Localization?
Probably localization.
Yeah.
Yeah, Square Enix, and a Dragon Quest title. You know, it's Final Fantasy sort of does that worldwide thing. Dragon Quest. I mean, look at Dragon Quest 11. Look at the delay with that. You know,
sure.
So we didn't even get some of the versions that were released over there. So. All right, last news item of the day. I kept it to last because it's a weird one, but I really wanted to get Gio's reaction to this. Impost. Yes, that is Impost. For audio listeners that didn't see me, I had to lean real close to the television.
That's IRN.
What?
Oh, boy.
I can now confirm it is IRN Post. Oh, man. Okay, anyway. We've got a new RPG game for smartphones called Project Babel. Everybody is rolling their eyes right now, but let me give you some hopeful things here. Some hopeful things. The scenario of the game is written by Kazushige Nojima, famous
dude
for
has no glasses, and he's trying to read Japanese. He's okay. I'm sorry. You were saying it's written by
Nojima.
It is a tough.
It's written by Kojima.
Nojima.
Nojima.
Yep.
Famous for the Final Fantasy series, the first 2 Kingdom Hearts games, and Dragon's Dogma Online. The music is composed by Sakamoto, famous for Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy 12, and the Valkyria Chronicles series. The storyline... okay, so the storyline centered around these 2 characters. The 2 characters in a world dominated by a mysterious tower. That doesn't really tell us anything. But anyway, those names, we got a Final Fantasy people in the mix. Okay,
good names.
The screens, I know you can't really go by screens a lot of time. Screens look interesting.
They look like Final Fantasy characters.
Yeah, and you watch the trailer, we're talking pretty sweet looking cinematics, pretty sweet looking animation. It's a smartphone game. Now, here's the only problem, is that they started talking using smartphone terms, and that is that the game will be free to play with item-based microtransactions.
Now, I understand that there's probably more money in microtransactions, but just give me an option, if it's something worth it. $14, $10, whatever. If it's worth $10, then make it $10, and I will gladly pay for a full game rather than seeing ads, rather than having to deal with microtransactions. Just let me pay for it outright. If there's an option to remove all that stuff, I would much rather play it that way. And I feel like there is nothing like that, where you have kind of a decent RPG smartphone game where, they're all based in microtransactions and loot boxes and all this other junk. Just charge me a flat rate or whatever it is, and let me play the full entire game. It just doesn't happen that way anymore. I'm just too old for this, Phil. I'm just way too old. I mean,
so
what would you pay? Like, say for example, it was $10. Would you rather have that and just not deal with microtransactions? Oh,
in a heartbeat.
Of course.
I think that the sad thing is that it's a revolving door here, because developers only do this if there's success to be had.
Sure.
Okay, they're not going to do this if it's not making money.
Right.
So I feel like they're doing this because the expectation of that market is that you do this. And so I feel like a lot of people get frustrated with that. They get frustrated with that with that market strategy, but it's the market that's dictating it. So it's like, guys, if you don't like this, stop making it happen.
Right.
So I'm a little frustrated there, because I feel like we've got a couple of upcoming smartphone games that had the opportunity to sort of try to break through a little bit, and sort of change the game, but I think that they're just perpetuating the status quo, and that was with Elder Scrolls Blades also being free to play. I don't know what type of microtransactions or what type of money making scheme, and I don't necessarily mean scheme in a negative way, but like literally how is Bethesda going to make money on it? There's that, and now there's this, and who knows, this could just be a bunch of flash and it's nothing, but with names like that and with a series, like you got the pedigree of Final Fantasy at your back, and like music from the person who did Final Fantasy Tactics and the Valkyria Chronicles series, like that's pretty big time names for something, and I really hope that this is decent. I hope it actually has a story and it's not just herp derp, and
kind of
buy
like
a bunch of stuff.
Dragalia Lost by Nintendo. I mean,
yeah,
you can kind of get by maybe the first chapter without having to put any real money into it. But I mean, if I had the option to throw $10 at it or $15 at it just to have a full-fledged game, that'd be perfect. And it's gonna take something like Nintendo or Bethesda, like a huge name out there, to kind of pioneer the way or change the strategy a little bit to where we can have these full purchase games, not having to deal with these little loot boxes and microtransactions. It's gonna have to take a bigger company to do that. Like, you're not going to get a lot of these smaller guys to do that because that's how they're making money. But I don't know. It's just too disappointing.
I almost wonder if it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to take for people to, I guess, think of their phones like a legitimate console. Yeah. Because I really think that that's the problem. I think that people still aren't used to the idea that this can be a legitimate console. So they don't want to pay because they feel like they're used to Flappy Bird or whatever,
Angry Birds.
Yeah, Angry Birds. There was a Flappy Bird too.
There was,
back up there. So, but if you started thinking about it like a console, I think that it would be easier to swallow a price tag that isn't 99 cents or $1.99 or free with a bajillion microtransactions. Because the reason I say I don't feel like people are really considering it that way is because if a 2018 RPG going cross-platform releases on PS4, releases on Switch, has maybe a little bit scaled back version, but it is the actual game released on phones at $60. Are you kidding me? Nobody would play that. Nobody would pay that for a game on the phone. And I think that's just because there is an expectation that we're not getting full-fledged experiences anyway, so why not pay for it? But I mean, like, if it is the full-fledged experience, it should not be a crime to charge $60 because that's what you're charging on other platforms. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same game.
If that's your preferred method, sure.
Yeah, and so I think I don't know if it's going to take that being a thing that happens and people get used to paying full price for a full game like they would on any other platform. And so then whenever games get made exclusively for mobile, then you could charge $19.99 and people are okay because they understand this is a game made for this platform, but it's a full-fledged game. I'm getting everything that I would from a Nintendo game or something like that without the need for ads. I don't know. I feel like we're a long way from it if we will ever even get there.
It would be a fantastic world.
I would start gaming on the phone more. I say that, but I probably wouldn't. I don't know.
And you got to also remember, like, the install base or the player base for phone, like, everyone has a phone. So I mean, the opportunity to get those microtransactions are pretty good on a phone. So I don't know.
And just by the way, this was just for Androids for right now. Android's phone. Android phones only. So for Geo, but not for me.
Not for you.
Bum, bum, bum.
Too bad.
That's going to wrap up the news for this week. Some interesting stuff, some good stuff.
You totally skipped out on the news I've been waiting to talk about.
Oh, frick.
Is it
Dude, I'm so sorry.
Dude, your eyesight is god awful.
No, it's not my eyesight. It's that I didn't even click on the link after you added it to the thing. Introduce your piece of news.
Okay,
this is the second week in a row I've skipped your news.
That's okay. It's I'm used to it. I'm married. Hard West is a tactical turn-based RPG coming out. It was originally released, I want to say, maybe 5-ish years ago. I don't know. By Forever Entertainment. It's coming out. I don't think they put a date on it yet. But it's like I hate when people do this, but I'm gonna do it anyways. It's like an XCOM type of game. Everybody compares these isometric kind of.
It's Dark Souls. It's XCOM.
And I. All right, it's like a Mario plus Rabbids game. Okay. Well, I mean, it's got the cover based tactical RPG type of deal, but it's set in the wild west, but it's also got some demon aesthetics into it as well. So it's I think the story is interesting. Now when you're in combat, it's kind of like the traditional turn-based strategy combat, but your story is more told in the overworld. So when you're traveling, say, from camp to camp, that's when your story is actually told, and it's not really told to you, it's more kind of just there, and you actually have to read like a nerd to understand what's going on. So, and there's also decisions that are made and kind of have after effects, kind of lingering effects that affect your long-term story. So I think it's really cool, and I think what we're getting for the Switch is kind of like the definitive or ultimate edition, whatever it was. I think for the most part it's got fairly good reviews, which is probably why they're putting it out for the Switch. I was actually, before this was announced, I've been playing a lot of strategy games. I don't know, it's just because I need to get my mind going, because I don't want to get old quick. So I just need to get my mind going. And so I've been playing a lot of it. And I looked at my computer and I'm like, Hard West, I haven't played that in so long. So I started playing it a little bit, and then this got announced. It was almost like fate. It just happened. But it's a really cool game. I think a lot of people are gonna enjoy it for sure.
All that needed to happen was for me to read one line out of this article that you put up from Nintendo Life, and that is the first sort of like press release thing, which is explore a world where Western legends meet demons, arcane rituals, and satanic cults, and where the dead can walk the earth again for a price. That is how you sell a video game premise.
It's really interesting. A game, and the story they tell. It's really cool, and the RPG aspect is your skills are based on cards. So you put certain cards and certain abilities you want, and each card has, say for example, Jack or Queen. So if you build your deck, I guess you could call it, in a certain way, if you get like a full house, that further enhances some abilities. It's got some cool mechanics there in it. So I think, like I said, I think a lot of people that missed out on this because it was a kind of a PC only are gonna really enjoy this game. So I'm happy. I'm really excited and happy that this is coming out.
Excellent. I'm glad that you got to share that piece of news with us.
Yeah, well,
no
because
thanks to me.
You don't care about me. So, I mean,
ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our news for real this time. Let's go over what we've been playing this week. What you been playing over there?
Oh, what have I been playing?
What have you not been playing? That's a shorter list.
Well, I haven't playing hard. No, I did play Hard West. I got Starlink. Actually, I got Starlink. I haven't been able to play it quite yet.
All right. I have a question.
Sure.
I have a question.
Shoot. Shoot me that question.
Did
Did
you pull a maneuver and get Pokemon Let's Go out of the Christmas present?
That was going to be my next item to discuss. That you made me steal my son's Pokemon Let's Go because I wanted to make sure that it worked.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
yeah,
I mean, I'm going to be holding on to it until Christmas. So I'm like, I got to make sure this works just in case, I got to return it. I want to get that over with.
And the last thing you want is for your son to open this on Christmas and then not be able to play it because it was a bum disc or something,
Right. So I took it out incognito. I might have even gone into a closet to open it up. So I opened up the game. I put it in my Switch. I haven't played it at all yet. I do want to play it. Don't get me wrong. I do want to play it. You know what I was really surprised? I put it in there. There was no day one patch. It was like version 1.0. And it's
welcome back to the 90s.
And it's still on version 1.0. It's amazing. Like they just got it right out of the box. You never see that. Like a lot of these games come out unfinished, unprepared, and you got day 1 patches, day 5 patches, day 30 patches. Like it's still on version 1.0. How like you never see that. So 2 games, those are 2 games I haven't played, but I do have them. Actually, did you buy anything on Black Friday at all?
No.
Okay. Well, I did. I got a pretty good deal, Monster Hunter World.
Okay.
I got it for
Xbox.
$12.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, Xbox One. I mean,
it's gonna be game of the year.
I feel like it's a game. It's good. It's got to be a decent game, right? So I figured it's still in the shrink wrap. I'll play it eventually. So for $12, I got Monster Hunter World. I got Fallout 76. Probably will collect dust until the end of time.
Go ahead, put it in the vault.
So yeah, that may never come out of its case, other than the helmet. Okay, that's really what I wanted. So I got my helmet. That'll be on display very soon. As soon as I get my other display case. So I got Fallout 76. And then I also got some used games. Some used games I've been looking at. Persona 4 and Grandia 2. So I've been looking at those games. I do a lot of my shopping, and I get really good deals on Instagram. A lot of people don't look at Instagram as a shopping place, but there's a lot of claim sales people do. And there's usually collector to collector, or anybody for that matter. And a lot of people have good variety of things. So I bought 2 of those games for a fairly good deal. But what have I actually been playing? Transistor. I just completed Transistor. I'm still uploading videos for that on YouTube, but I finally finished it. I think I have about 4 or 5 hours in it. A beautiful game, beautiful environments, beautiful music. The enemy variety is a little lacking. The combat is a little chunky. I really got used to the combat towards the end of the game, which is kind of annoying to me because pretty much the entire game I'm struggling with the combat, and then towards the end I'm like a pro, but because it's kind of a shortish game. And then I started still playing Diablo, and then I started Into the Breach, which is kind of like a chess strategy game with a lot of RPG mechanics in it. So
enough RPG mechanics.
Enough. Yes, it's an RPG. All right, get off of it. All right. And that's it.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, everybody, if you're listening to this while you're driving, either 1, drive with your knee, or 2, pull over. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you. And then I don't know if I mentioned this. I finished The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Look at you!
Did I mention that? And also, Castlevania was freaking awesome. And so was Sabrina.
I still haven't watched a single episode of that, but I have heard only amazing things about season 2.
Yes, definitely watch Castlevania. There's a lot of there's a certain fight scene. It's kind of closer to the end where the music is kind of a throwback. It's essentially a throwback to Castlevania and Simon's Quest. They play a song called Bloody Tears, and it's probably, my brother-in-law is the same way, feels the same way. It's probably one of the best 8-bit songs you'll ever hear. Bloody Tears, Castlevania, and they do a rendition or a fight to it, and it's phenomenal. It's unbelievable, really is. So what have you been doing?
All right, I did play something this week.
I saw it. I'm gonna say I saw it. It was for literally 5 minutes.
I played a little bit. I played a little bit longer.
Okay.
It was a little bit longer. I got the itch to go back to Breath of the Wild for a little bit.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Got the itch, and I gotta tell you, I had to relearn that game.
Oh man.
You don't realize. Listen, people, you do not realize how much you had to learn about Breath of the Wild. You had to learn its language.
Yeah.
Because by the end of it, by the end, you know, you were fluent. You were fluent in Breath of the Wildianisms.
Right.
Okay. You knew how everything worked. But let me tell you, once you get used to how things work and do not work in other games, going back to Breath of the Wild is honestly a trial in patience.
Oh no.
Because number one, obviously the physics. I had to relearn the physics again, okay? Because I'm not used to being able to climb onto everything and being able to fall off of everything and being able to, okay, real thing that happened. I was in the volcano area, okay? The volcano area, you know, where, for those of you who are not familiar with Breath of the Wild, all three of you out there, because this game is so like physics based and like stuff just is logical and it makes sense because of course it would be this way. Okay. So you got a volcano area where it will literally burn you if you don't wear the right kind of equipment.
Yep.
Wooden weapons that are on your back will just catch on fire because they're wooden in a volcano area.
Right.
Okay. So we're dealing with things like that. All right. So I realigned myself with all that stuff. Then was out in this area, came across some enemies that were shooting arrows at me. So ducked behind cover, you know, doing a little Tom Clancy, you know, Rainbow Six, cover fire. I was like, you know what? Let me use sort of like the strongest arrows that I have. So of course I pull out my bomb arrows.
Oh no.
Okay. I played this game for I cannot remember. It was well over 160 hours, which I know for Breath of the Wild, not very long, but over 160 hours in this game. I have never pulled out bomb arrows in the volcano area. And I did that for the first time, fired one off. It blows up in my face because of course it does. Because the environment lights the fuse on the bomb arrow and it blows up in my face, blows me back off of the mountain that I was on, and I slid for a good 10 seconds to my death. And I could not even be angry because the game outsmarted me. And that is Breath of the Wild in a nutshell. You have to relearn the language. Let me tell you, I almost threw every single one of my weapons that I wielded at one point or another. I almost threw it straight into the ground because I kept hitting the right bumper. Yeah.
Yeah, that volcano area. I think that was might have been my least favorite area. But yeah, you can cook food just on the ground. You have to wear the right equipment. It's just, yeah, I still kind of keep up with it because my son kind of wants to play it every once in a while, and then he gets stuck on a certain part, like a trial or whatever, so I'll end up having to relearn it again. So I've been kind of just doing that off and on for a little while, but I can't imagine staying away from it for a while and then just, again, like you said, having to readjust to playing it again. Because yeah, some of the controls are a little different, like where you would think that buttons would be. It's just, yeah. So yeah.
But, ladies and gentlemen, can I tell a little story real quick?
Do you need me to step away? Or
No, you stay.
Okay,
You
I'm
stay.
gonna hang out.
Okay.
I'm gonna hang out.
Breath of the Wild, not always the most intuitive game. Maybe not everyone's favorite game, but I will say that it has given me and replaying it this past week kind of made all these things flood back into my head. It has given me some of my favorite, most memorable moments in gaming ever. And things that I had just forgotten about because like these things just happen while you play. And it's just like one out of 10 or 15 things that'll happen in a session, and then you don't think about it. But I was thinking back on it because I was running around. Because in this save file, I've not beaten Ganon. I've not
In that
completed
save
the
file.
game.
Wait, have you
Ever
beaten the game?
on
Have
any
you beaten the
save file.
game?
No, but
What?
because 160 hours and I've not beaten the game. That is a test. That is a very Bethesda like thing. I've never beaten Skyrim either, and I've played almost 1,000 hours in that game. But what I will say is that it's given me some of the greatest sort of memories, and one of those or a couple of those. Okay, is my first time running into that volcano town because you can't get the armor unless
You go into the town.
you go into the town.
It's terrible.
And you are going to be running in there with your butt on fire, and you're just losing hearts.
Well, you have
hearts.
to make a potion or something to kind of withstand that.
Can you make that potion before you get there?
Yes.
I did not do that. And that is why that was very memorable, because I ate so much food just replenishing hearts on my journey to that town. And so I quite literally skidded into the armor shop with half a heart, buying the equipment as quickly as possible.
I did the same thing, and I only know about the food because that's what my brother-in-law did. He's kind of a much smarter person than I am, and that's what he told me to do. But it was already too late. Like in your situation, it's just too late. You just had to deal with it. And also for the record, I did look up speed running times for Breath of the Wild, and we're looking
17 minutes.
What do you think?
17?
No. That would be really fast compared to these guys. 31 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I knew it was under an hour. Yeah.
I've
seen like the sped up, like,
yeah.
know, like it was 5 minutes, but yeah. That's impressive. That's one of my favorites. Another was remember going into the water town.
Yep.
I hated that trail getting there.
Yeah, because it's confusing, right?
It's confusing. You got those things shooting at you. So the second time, because that was the first time I played it on the Wii U, the second time when I got my Switch, I said, I'm not doing that trail again. So what I did...
I know which one you talk... Okay, yeah. Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I said I'm never doing it again.
There, right?
Yes, because you gotta like follow the prince. Like he's like shifting in the water. And he's like, follow me, and then it's like 8 hours of travel. Anyway, I said I'm not doing it again. The special thing that I did with my Switch game or my Switch version was I've completed all the shrines.
Okay.
I purposely just went around the world and completed all the shrines. So I got max health, max stamina, and I got a lot of stamina because you need a lot of stamina for what I did to get to that water town. I climbed up the top of the mountain behind it and glided over all of the other surrounding mountains to land in the throne room of the king and said, hey, what's up? I had never even talked to the prince, and the game knew that I hadn't, and it didn't matter. It just like shifted the dialogue a little bit, and just hats off to that game.
Yeah. No, definitely hats off to the game. It's just not an RPG. So what do we is that all you played?
A little bit of Kirby.
Kirby, huh?
A little bit of Kirby, yeah.
Nice.
The All-Star Allies or whatever it's called, or whatever the the 4-player one is.
Cool.
It's all right.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's all right.
It's not bad. It's not bad, and that's all about.
It's
about all I can say.
It's easy.
Yeah.
Like I felt like no matter what I did in that game, I could never lose. Like I was never.
Is that a staple of Kirby? Because I played Epic Yarn is the only other one that I've played, and that was like that. Like you could not die.
Right. I don't know if that's a thing. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I definitely felt like invincible through the entire game,
Mm-hmm.
which is good for my son because that's who I got it for, and he completed the game, so it's all good.
Yes, sir. All right. Let's look at sales and releases, everybody. Sales and releases brought to you by Meatball Sub on SwitchRPG.com. Remember, you can head over to SwitchRPG.com for all your Switch RPG content that you want, articles and videos and all that jazz. And then also you can use SwitchList.app to find your next Switch title. Sales and releases brought to you by Meatball Sub. Releasing this week, we've got Mordheim Warband Skirmish. That sounds like a winner. Released on November 26th. Remember, you're listening to this on November
28th.
Well, if you're listening live, you're listening on November 28th. If you're listening on Friday when this is releasing, that's the 30th.
It's currently the 28th. Yes.
It is currently the 28th. Yes,
yeah.
It currently is.
Yeah, currently.
So Mordheim released on the 26th. Cattails releases November 29th,
which was
$14.99.
reviewed by Meatball.
It was. Crimson Keep releases November 29th to a 20% off discount. So it's releasing.
And
I had to make sure this is the new game releases, and it is. It's releasing at $15.99. I'm guessing it's releasing with a 20% off discount.
Well, yeah, it's the Amazon discount. So, yeah.
Oh. Marinian Tavern Story, Patty and the Hungry God releases November 29th at $19.99. So just a smashing week.
Cool.
For releases. Just an amazing week for releases. Every single one of those brand new games still cheaper than Lost Sphere and I Am Setsuna. On sale this week, Bastion is 20% off at $11.99. Battle Chasers Night War is 35% off for $25.99. Chicken Assassin Reloaded is 20% off for $6.39. Child of Light Ultimate Edition half off for $9.99. Crimson Keep releasing this week, 20% off for $15.99. Darkest Dungeon, 25% off at $18.74. Disgaea 5 Complete, 25% off at $29.99. Dragon Sinker, 20% off for $10.39. Dungeon Rushers, 50% off for $7.49. Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition HD, the longest title in existence, except for maybe one of the Atelier games, 35% off for $19.49. Final Light The Prison, 60% off for $2.79. Heroes of the Monkey Tavern, half off for $4.99. Hyper Light Drifter Special Edition, 20% off for $15.99. I Am Setsuna, half off for $19.99. Joe Deaver's Lone Wolf, half off for $7.49. Lost Sphere, 60% off. 60% off.
Holy.
Not for $9.99, but for $19.99, 60% off. Mecha Storm, 40% off, $11.99. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, 25% off for $44.99. Next up, Hero, half off for $9.99. Regalia of Men and Monarchs Royal Edition, 10% off.
Should I stop
for
and get a drink or something?
$22.49. We're getting there. We're getting there. Reigns, Kings and Queens, 30% off for $5.59. Shining Resonance Refrain, half off for $24.99. South Park: Fractured But Whole, 60% off. South Park: Stick of Truth, half off. Starlink Battle for Atlas Edition, 25% off for $44.99. Steam World Heist Ultimate Edition for $9.99. The Elder Scrolls V for $29.99. Titan Quest for $26.99. 79, sorry. Undertale for $12.74. That seems like a pretty good deal. Last but not least, Valkyria Chronicles 4 is half off, and West of Loathing is that weird 11% off for $9.79. Somebody called Geo. And we're back.
I heard you say my name. Hi.
And we're back.
What are we doing?
We just finished the side quest, actually.
Oh, the side quest? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And that's going to wrap it for episode 31.
No,
nah, I'm kidding.
Don't do that to me.
All right. So there you go. Remember, you can find your sales and releases every week from SwitchRPG.com.
And
I felt like I needed a tagline there, like SwitchRPG.com. Let's go places.
Sure. That'll be it. We'll have to write that in.
Yeah.
Unless you just want to change it up every episode. That's fine, too.
No, Gio, you know what time it is. It's time to pack your bags. We're going on a side quest.
And the reason why we're going on a side quest so soon is because the listeners have not provided us any content to discuss. So
wait, you know what? Hang on. We actually did jump the boat because we did have some responses from our question last week. So I guess we could do that first. That was last week's side quest was, do you have any release day purchases that you regret?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe that was just a question. I don't remember.
No, I don't
remember what we did last week.
We'll do whatever we want. Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Sure.
All right. So responses from last week from Twitter. And for anybody who didn't see the tweet, we tweeted out, do you have any release day purchases you regret? And under that was a gif of Fallout 76.
Who would have done that?
I don't know who that could have been.
Anyways.
Hence earlier in the episode. Some responses here. Timothy Taylor. I hope the Switch version improves, but Vampire is definitely one. It was okay, but I was beyond hyped for it, and okay was my reward. Ouch, that hurts.
That was Timothy a full-price game, right?
Roll Tide. Yes, it was.
Roll Tide? What does that mean?
Ard Van Pierre. No Man's Sky, hands down. I can definitely see that one. But buzzed for that game for over 3 years. Finally get it. Nothing but crashes every 2 minutes. Didn't care. Everything they promised wasn't there. I just wanted to play it. Go.
Okay. They've totally redeemed themselves.
2 years later.
But they totally redeemed themselves.
You are correct, but under the rules of the question, day one, I can totally see being bummed.
For sure.
I was so excited for No Man's Sky. And thankfully, by the time it came out, I did not have a PS4 and therefore could not get disappointed because I could not get the game.
Yeah.
It was the best of both worlds.
I
got excited and it didn't get ruined.
Yeah, I just watched. I remember when that game came out. Again, I was excited for it and I didn't have a PlayStation 4. I would just watch streams of people playing it and I would keep watching. I'm like, wow, this is really not what they promised. What's going on here? I just continue to watch. I'm like, oh boy, it's not looking good. Not looking good at all.
2 While says Super Bomberman.
Super Bomberman? Oh, on the Switch.
That's the picture. Yeah, that's the picture.
Yeah, no, I thought he was talking on the Super NES.
No, this is Switch.
Yeah, okay.
Methriel Project Myriad is his actual handle.
Okay.
He says, surprisingly no. Granted, there haven't been many, but I've enjoyed every one I've bought on release day. Similar to my answer, like I said last week, I was not trying to cheat my way out. But I actually don't get a lot of games day one, and the ones that I do, I typically have researched for months and months and months. I would have been gotten by the previously mentioned No Man's Sky, however, because I was still very excited about that game day one. I just, like I said, did not have a PS4. So I would have been gotten. That was a great...
You would have been gotten good.
Great choice. Gotten good or bad. John Harvey has X-Men Destiny. I don't know if that is one game or if that is two games. As in, there's an X-Men game and a Destiny game. Was there an X-Men Destiny game?
I'm not entirely sure. Let me give that a little bing here, and
it has to be one game because his follow up to that was so bad but could have been so good. Broke my heart. It really did. He's using a singular pronoun, it.
Yep.
I'm using my grammar skills here. So that to me tells me it is, in fact, one game. It's just interesting.
Wow,
I said
like
Destiny.
Sherlock
So that's
Holmes and a literary genius. Literary? I don't know.
You said it, not me.
Okay.
Yeah, literary.
But anyways, yes.
Literally.
It is one game released for the PS3, Xbox 360, the Wii, and the Nintendo DS.
Well, the reason why you were disappointed in that game is because that was the era of terrible superhero games that had to be redeemed by Arkham.
That's probably the only good superhero game.
Debatable,
I mean, I haven't played the new Spider-Man, so I really can't say, but...
Well, I mean, like I was saying, especially in that era.
Oh, yeah.
That was when we were getting... God, who was it? Konami that put out like a Spider-Man every 2 months.
Oh, boy.
I can't remember who the I cannot remember who the developer is. Who? I mean, they were just putting Spider-Man, the Spider-Man multiverse, and all this, that, and the other. Speaking of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, hailed as the greatest Spider-Man movie of all time.
Oh, that looks really good.
Switch.bit says, White Knight Chronicles 2. I loved the first one, but the second, they ruined it by listening to reviewers and changing the gameplay up to appease them. Ruined it.
Those reviewers don't know anything.
No, they don't. And there you go. Thank you for the responses to our side quest last week. But yeah, where were the questions this week, guys? Come on.
That's okay.
That's okay. We still love you. We still love you.
Well, you know.
We still love you, Gio. Tell us what this week's side quest is.
This week's side quest is again. This is the original meaning of side quest, meaning not related to games at all. Just a question. Okay. Now the question. Now, if you're we're in agreement here, right? We're
speaking the same language.
Okay, bingo. Now the question is, if you could learn any animal language, what would it be, and why? I'll let you go first. Now let's take this as serious as we can. Okay, I don't want to mess around here.
I'm not messing around. I've gotten really
smile.
close to the mic. People listening to the audio, I just went right up in the mic because I was going to get real low here.
I know.
I was going to say
just
this.
Saw the smile on your face, and we can't have that here.
All right.
See?
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the easiest answer of a side quest I've ever had to make.
The easiest?
Because when... Wait, now, did you actually say the question? Did I black out during that?
Did I answer the question?
Did you actually say what was the question?
Yeah. What animal language? What?
Yeah. Okay. I blacked out. I was focusing so much. Animal language has to be the king of all nature. Lions. Okay. Lions.
Dude,
because
you're way off. But
no,
continue.
Listen to me. What is one of the single greatest movies of all time? The Lion King. Also, what's being remade soon and the trailer just came out and gave me chills for days. The Lion King. Okay, go look at that trailer for the new Lion King and tell me you do not have an emotional response to those computer-generated lions, if we can call them that, because they look so realistic.
Okay. Now, another serious question. Is
Yes.
it a live-action Lion King? Or
What do you mean, is it a live-action Lion King?
I mean,
There aren't humans in there, so
it's not, right?
they didn't train the animals.
You know what? I didn't need you to get all snarky with me. It was just a simple question.
They're talking animals. No, okay. Do you remember the Jungle Book?
I do.
Okay,
Like
which
the Jon Favreau Jungle Book.
yes.
Okay.
Which I liked a lot. But that's what it looks like.
Well, it's Jon Favreau.
Because despite what you may have thought about that movie, if there was one thing that was pretty amazing about it, it was, to me, the special effects, the visuals.
Yeah.
Those were some really freaky, realistic looking animals, and that is sort of the visual style that the Lion King is taking too. The animals are talking. We've got Donald Glover as Simba. I mean, this is just like speaking to me on so many levels.
Yep.
But seriously though, the majesty of lions is just insane.
So
also, The Lion King was like a very formative movie of my childhood. I mean, like that was all of it.
So you're
the worst thing about Lion King is its inclusion in Kingdom Hearts 2. You have the floor.
And The Lion King 2, which was...
Oh, wow. Yeah, true.
But the great thing about this new Lion King people are calling it live action, and I always like to bust
but I
stones
get
out.
what you mean by that. Yes,
Yeah.
it's not animated in the normal sense.
No, but the best thing about it is James Earl Jones is in it, so that's perfect.
Yes. Yeah.
So you would like to just go out into the African wilderness and like to just communicate with these things?
Yes. Are you kidding me?
You would die. They would eat you.
If I could communicate with them, I'd be like, "Hey, don't do that.
Don't eat me, please.
I'm your friend." I could be the Mowgli of the Lion King. That would be my dream come true.
And lions, huh? Okay. I mean, I thought maybe you would go traditional. You know, I'd like to speak with my dog.
Oh no, come on!
Like in
I
Am Legend with Will Smith, and he just he's out with his dog hunting zombies and just talking to his dog and understanding him.
R.I.P. dog.
R.I.P. dog. Dude, spoiler
alert for a 10-year-old movie.
No one has seen that movie yet. Okay, for me, it's gonna have to be dolphins. Now, I see the smirk on your face.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
I can't even deal with this. You know what? This is a bad idea.
No, okay. Tell me why dolphins.
I mean, they already communicate a ton with each other, not in just roars, because that's boring.
No,
but these dolphins communicate already in pods. They communicate with each other. They already have their own set of language. I want in on it. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what's going on with Sally in that pod. Like, what is she messing with my brother over here? Like, I need to know all the gossip between these dolphins. Like, there's gotta be some stuff going down between pods. I want in on it. I want in on all of that. And if not dolphins, some sort of marine animal, like whales even. Like, what are they singing about? They feel like they're just singing the blues. Like, what are they so sad about? Like, they shouldn't be sad at all. They're majestic animals. And, I mean, it doesn't sound like they're singing a heavy metal song or anything. It sounds like they're just singing the blues with Ray Charles. And I don't know. I want to know. Why so down? Why are you guys so down here? You guys should be happy.
Yeah, those are good. Those are good. Look, those are good. Those are really good. Because you sold me, and and I think it's actually good. I went land, you went sea.
Yeah.
But you also cheated. You also did 2. So I'm going to get a second one in here.
Oh, boy. Okay.
And I'm going the opposite end of the coin, but I'm not going dog. I'm going wolf. If you want to talk about something that talks in quote-unquote pods and or packs and communicates and is sleek and beautiful and gorgeous and deadly, get me in on that action.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Give me that wolf nature.
The wolf nature, the pack. I could get on that, but that's the dog, really. So you kind of went cheesy.
I went cat dog.
Why would you do that?
Because you went dolphin whale. I had to ground this.
I went too far over the edge. I apologize.
You went dolphin whale.
Listen.
I just feel like dolphins can basically communicate with us already, so it was like...
But they can't. Right?
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, they do have a very sophisticated language, and if we could tap into that, that'd be cool.
Listen to me. I'm going to put a poll up when the audio version of this gets put out. Okay? With the side quest here.
Guess what? We gave 4 options for people to choose from.
Bingo. So I'm going to win. I mean, I'm not going to create a bunch of burner accounts to win, but I'm just saying that Dolphins might have the edge here.
I mean, if you didn't do that for the SwitchRPG World Cup, then...
I didn't because my team lost, and we totally messed that World Cup up, huh? We'll figure it out the next year.
Oh, man.
But, yeah. All right. Cool.
Bonus side quest, real quick. We are over time, so we are going to give this one real quick, but we teased it at the beginning. Anticipated games. Gio, give me 2 anticipated 2019 releases.
Well, we went over Tales of Vesperia. I want to play Fire Emblem 3 Houses so bad. So Fire Emblem 3 Houses, and then also Decay of Logos. I've been harping on this bandwagon for quite a while. I've been following them for quite a while. They've just been progressing phenomenally. So I want to play Fire Emblem and Decay of Logos.
For me, Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac, the Zodiac Age, I think is a masterpiece of a game. Regardless of the fact that it's a remaster, it is just a wonderful game, a lot to do, so much content, and it's going to be handheld now. If you've listened to this podcast from like episode 1, you will know I've been calling for this for forever, so I'm excited about that. Also, Dragon Quest 11, because I didn't really play it much on PC. It was one of those deals where I was playing it on PC, and I'm like, man, I wish I wasn't constricted to the PC right now. So that's going to be another major RPG handheld on the Switch where we love it. And then last but not least, Decay of Logos for me. It deserves a second.
Wow. A
second endorsement. Gio and I have been waiting for this game for a long time, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Hopefully it's coming this year. I don't know. I thought they said fall, and it's still technically fall, but I don't know. We'll see. Don't rush it.
And then finally, the game that's bringing true crossplay to Switch and PS4, Dragon Quest Builders 2. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for episode 31 of the SwitchRPG podcast. Thank you so much for listening and for being a part of the show, sending all those responses to our side quests last week. Be sure to check Twitter. So if you put the poll up tonight, can you make it for like 3 days?
You can, yeah.
Okay, make sure to do that. Because the people listening on Friday, you need to weigh in. You need to weigh in on the poll.
I can wait till Friday. It gives me enough time to make accounts. I mean, to set up the time.
Yeah. Making all those email addresses is a pain. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you head over to Twitter and vote in our poll of what animal language would you like to speak if you vote lion or wolf, you get special brownie points. Anyway, remember, this is the show that you can listen to each and every Friday. You can watch it live on Wednesday at 9:30 Eastern Time, U.S. time. I do that every single week. You can listen on your favorite app on Fridays, though. And if you like what you hear, you can head over to patreon.com/SwitchRPG. Throw us $1 or $2 if you can. If not, no worries. You just being part of the community is what matters to us. Once again, thank you for listening. Until next time, I'm going to be going to perfect that Breath of the Wild linguistic degree.
Wow. Have a good night, guys. Good day, good night, whenever, wherever you are. Bye.
See ya.
We did it. Man, I am stupid. Oh, let me stop everything.